during brumation dangerous, right? That's what was brought up. So I had to feed Ripley because she was very underweight, but she wants to brumate, but doesn't really have the weight to survive the brumation. But yes, that can be a dangerous thing, and something you guys need to know is when I'm doing videos like this, normally I'm doing it for a very specific thing, especially if it's related to a rescued reptile. So let's look at Johnny Cage. He was a rescue from about a year ago, and he's been in my possession a year, and he's doing great. And I've had to feed him during brumation before also. Look at him just looking at us. And he's technically still in his brumation. But that's why we're going to go over why it can be dangerous, how to identify it, and to kind of talk about brumation not always being the same. Okay? Hi, buddy. Anyone remembers Johnny Cage? It's because he's missing. He's crazy. He's tried to eat my microphone. You know, he was missing fingers on his hand here, although it's doing great. You know, there's little two nubs at the end, so sometimes we call them nubbins, but not a big deal. And he's just looking proud because he's starting to wake up. So why can feeding during your brumation be harmful? And that's the question. Well, if you give your bearded dragon food during brumation and your bearded dragon's not basking, remember, guys, these are cold-blooded animals, and they need the heat to help digest. Not to only digest, but it does help them. But the other thing is, if they're just taking it easy and they're brumating and they're just relaxing, their digestive system is also going to slow down a little bit too. So if you don't have heat and you don't have the digestive system moving, your food can actually sit in there and ferment and rot inside your bearded dragon's stomach. And that's not good. Normally what you'll get with that is you'll get an extremely sick bearded dragon. Hi! So one other thing, though, you guys need to know is that is not always the case, and because not every bearded dragon goes through brumation the same, and not every bearded dragon does the same type of brumation every single year, and that's the big difference, right? So let's take Mongo, for instance. Mongo gets fed all the time during brumation, but I'm going to go over how he brumates, and this is the key. Normally, he'll go in his rock or go under the hide, and you'll brumate, right? Yes, you will. But about every 2 to 3 weeks, he'll wake up, he'll bask, he'll want to eat, he'll eat, and he'll be in that wake-in but slow state, but he will be basking for about a day or two. And then he'll go back to bed. It's kind of like he's waking up for his snack, right? You like your snacks? Yes, you do. And that's what I've learned about him. And he does that. This is the second year he does that like clockwork. And then what happens is, at the end of his brumation, and he's just waking up to get out of it now, I go ahead and I give him a good warm bath. And guys, he takes the biggest poop and passes the biggest poop and the biggest urate I've ever seen a bearded dragon do. I mean, it's massive. It's almost combined, they're like as long as his body, not counting the tail. It's just incredible, but that's what he does. He eats, he wants to eat, then he brumates, and he wants to eat, then he brumates. But see, because he doesn't do that deep, nonstop hibernation brumation where you just sleep and that's it, which is, you know, that's different. That's why you need to know your bearded dragon. You need to know his eating habit, and you need to know the type of brumation that he is experiencing that year. Yeah? Yeah, you do, don't ya? Don't ya? Everyone loves you because you're black beard. Ooh, you're nice and hot and nice and warm, and you look so good. So right there's two bearded dragons that brumate completely differently. We have Mongo, who wakes up during his brumation and demands food. We have Johnny Cage that wakes up during his brumation but will not eat food even if it's offered to him. Then let's look at Archimedes, who also brumates differently. And here we go again. She always starts her brumation much later than Mongo or Johnny Cage. Mongo always goes into brumation first, then Johnny Cage follows suit, and then like a month later, it's Archimedes. And it's very weird because people, you know, normally they ask about brumation, why does it happen, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, these guys are inside. You know, my house is climate controlled. I have heat, obviously. you know. And then they're in tanks that have their basking spots, and they do have thermostats for their overnight heat, just in case something were to happen or the room were to get drafty. But they still brumate. Now, I do, in the winter months, cut the lights from the 12 to 14 hours down to the 10 to 12 hour shifts, depending on the reptile. So they do get other UV, but they would go into brumation regardless of that. They would just know the time of the year, the climate's changed, the barometric pressure has changed, and that's what happens. So Archimedes brumates completely different than the other two, and she goes in late. When it's getting close time for her to brumate, and she's kind of sluggish because, like I said, she's in her brumation right now. So when it's getting close for her to brumate, she starts eating like crazy. She starts demanding food every single day, and that's how I know she's getting ready to brumate. So she eats like crazy, and then she brumates. She finds a spot on the bottom of her tank, she spreads out like a starfish, and she goes to bed. Very little movement. Every once in a while, maybe she'll move an inch or two, but she just relaxes during her brumation. Not always asleep. A lot of times she's like this. She's open, but she's just laying down. She's chilling. She's a little bit cooler in touch because she's staying nearer to the warm side of the tank, but not going to the basking area. Look at her just moving her head a little bit. I know you're tired, but you're here for the video. And she does not eat during her brumation at all during this time, which is really, really interesting. So now we've gotten 3 bearded dragons. We have 3 different times that they brumate and 3 different ways that they brumate. And so I was going to show Ripley, but she's way in the back to end it on. So since I can't get to her, I guess I would show leopard geckos, because this is another type of lizard that can go into brumation. And why not Orion? Because he's getting ready to do a nice little full body shed. As you can see, he's turning white. But so yeah, you need to know your lizard. You need to know your brumation, the way they brumate, the way your lizard acts. But normally, yes, if you don't know how to tell these things, you should not feed during brumation. You should wait till you see your bearded dragon basking again. Once you see him basking, then normally you know it's a good time to give them food. Also, as a side note, hi, good boy, Ripley may be leaving us, guys. Guido, hello. Yes, did I say that? What did I say? Yes, Ripley may be getting a forever home with a family with 2 children who had a special needs dog that they had to take care of, and now the dog is gone and have a normal bearded dragon, and messaged me about the kids wanting to take care of Ripley with the parents, of course. And so I'm going through that screening process, but hopefully I'll be able to document that if Ripley does go with them. I know she would absolutely love that, because then she would have kids and, you know, the interaction, and that would be really good exercise for her. So we'll see. Otherwise, guys, take care. Thank you guys for supporting my reptile rescue family.